usually we start from the beginning, like what got Brandon to where you are today. And so it's true you grew up in Beijing, going to an
Yeah.
international school? Like what was that like growing up?
Yeah, so I'm a US citizen, first of all. My parents were both living here, but just like kind of how it turned out, I was born in Beijing and I spent the first 10 or so years there. And I think for me, like a lot of people talk about it, but I feel like growing up in another country and being familiar with how they operate is, and like knowing a different language, right, is a game changer in terms of, I think it gives you just like another set of reference points, another mindset or way to think at things. So I'm really grateful that I was able to have that experience growing up. I still have a lot of friends there, and I am very appreciative of that experience. And it's still a very close part of my life in a sense.
That's what was so cool to me because you have, I guess, several mental kind of models with languages in your head because you do know some Arabic too. You were in Morocco. I heard a little bit about that. Language is
Yeah.
fascinating to me. I'm pretty competent with Spanish, but you see the world in a different way, like especially interacting with those cultures. Actually, yesterday I was just talking to this Mexican woman, and like it's funny just the way that they'll go about like calling friends fat. It's just like really casual thing, whereas other cultures is completely different. So it's really being immersed in the culture with the language. I think it opens your eyes. Is
Yeah, yeah, I talked with Polina on
right.
that episode about like how kind of what language you think in or what language you operate in can almost switch based on what context you're in. I think, like you said, I'm pretty new at Arabic, so I definitely don't think in that language. But I think for the difference between like Chinese and English is that a lot of times if you're thinking like in I mean, at least for me growing up, like whenever I did anything that was like counting or math related, it was very much kind of in Chinese, just because like in a sense, like the language for numbers made more sense. Where English has like 11 and 12, which is kind of random in a sense, right? Instead of like 21 or 22.
Mm.
So just small things like that is pretty interesting to notice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one, I feel like a lot of people must mispronounce your name too. Just coming to America, the amount of
Hmm.
Zangs you must get, or however it is, that's
Yeah.
got to be infuriating. But it is cool. Like we were in Beijing briefly for spring break in college, and just seeing the way people interact is completely different. Like I'm someone who's pretty, like I'm Hispanic, so kind of touchy feely. Like even with strangers, like I went to do like a high five to someone, and they like got scared out of their mind. So it's just different navigating the
No, for sure.
it's like very startling for them.
Hmm.
Culturally, I guess you went to an international school there. So did that have a good mix, or were like what was that like compared to maybe going to a school just like a normal Chinese student would?
Yeah, I think it's definitely basically if you took like an American public school and kind of plopped it in another country. I think also what's different is there's a lot more diversity in terms of there was a lot of kids from embassies or kids from a lot of different countries. I know a lot of American universities and American high schools sometimes like to talk about like the diversity that the students are coming from, but truly like going to an international school, it's a very, very different experience in that sense.
Yeah, that was the beauty because I went to a public school in Rhode Island, so just
Hmm.
like nothing nothing other than like white people, and like I was the closest to Hispanic person there, and then going to Brown in my case, like it completely opened my eyes to other cultures.